welcome to Vets Coming Clean, where we ask our guests, what have you seen? I'm Peggy the Enforcer.
And I'm Granny Lisa, and tonight we have the funny guy himself. Although his career has been a little bit of everything, we have Michael Madsen, aka Military Mike, with Operation Rally Point, but he wears a lot more different hats. So, welcome to the show, Mike. How are
Good
you
morning.
doing? Good morning. What time? What area are you in?
It's 6 o'clock. It's morning now. I'm located in Loganville, Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
out past Stone Mountain.
Oh, that sounds like a beautiful area.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah,
Nothing special.
yeah. Oh, that's good.
My
That's
kids
good.
were here, so I came back and lived here after I retired out of the military.
Now, how many grandkids do you have?
I have two grandchildren and three regular normal kids.
You mean adult kids?
Yeah, they look, they're beautiful. I got to tell you, they're beautiful and they're smart as hell.
Hey.
They got their looks from their mother and they got their intelligence from me.
Oh,
Yeah, if not, we'd have dumb, ugly children.
well, and nobody wants to have those, right?
No. Well,
Oh,
hey,
okay.
somebody's got to work at the carnival.
Oh, that's bad. Carnival people, do not take it out on us. You could reach Mike at
Yeah,
operationrallypoint.org.
it's my day
So
gig.
military Mike, foxholenetwork.com.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
that's my company. So the Foxhole
Yay.
Internet Radio Network, oprallypoint.org. That's what we do. What we do there is we work with homeless veterans.
Mhm.
We the when a veteran finally decides to kind of swallow their pride and say, hey, look, I'm homeless, between that and the time they actually get permanent housing, or at least more permanent housing, there is this period of time there that nobody wants to touch because it's extremely problematic. It's extremely expensive as a nonprofit. But that's what we do. The guys that started it, Brendan Watts is the CEO, and Johnny Grimes is operations. And then there was another fellow involved. They started about 8 years ago down in Atlanta. They came
Oh.
across a homeless veteran, and being that they were all infantry guys, one, made
Mhm.
them not that smart. Two, they'll love that joke if they're watching. The other part was they were very concerned that a veteran, supposedly with all these potential and opportunities for benefits, how does a veteran end up homeless?
Right.
So they packed up a rucksack and they went and lived on the streets for 100 nights. They kissed their wives and patted their little kids, and they said, "We'll be back in 100 days." And they went down and they learned the truth about homeless veterans. And what they came across is that yes, there are thousands of nonprofits that are veteran based. The
Mhm.
the veteran or the nonprofit community is saturated with veteran based nonprofits. Problem
Right.
is a vast majority of them. I don't know the actual numbers, but I would say well into the 90% have never collected a penny or never spent a penny. But generally, what it is a couple vets are sitting around. They're on their porch and they're having a couple beers or drinking a little whiskey, smoking a cigar, and they go, wow, we ought to start a nonprofit to support veterans. They go, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And they collectively get up about $1,500. They file with the federal government, and they get a nonprofit to support veterans. And then they don't have a damn clue how to run them. And they're easy as shit to start, excuse my French, but they're extremely difficult to operate, especially successful.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of nonprofits out there that are for veterans that don't do anything. Some are just resource hubs. You call them, you give them your information, and they say, "Hey, call this other place."
Right.
It's not doing anything. It's frustrating the veteran. It's tapping a limited amount of resources. So at Operation Rally Point, that's what we do. We deal with them. We have discretionary funds and we donations and whatnot. Right now we're managing 8 apartments, and we have some that are split up with single male veterans, and then we have 2 families that we're taking care of. But the program has been as large as well into the 40s.
Oh,
veterans.
wow.
At one point, we were hemorrhaging over $1,000 a day in hotel rooms, extended stays, and apartments and whatnot.
I have a question.
Okay,
You
just
had
as long as it's not tough.
it's going to be a tough one
Okay,
because
make it
I
tough.
like to make you work that big
Work it.
brain of
Make me
yours.
sweat.
Okay. You said there was a point, a very interesting point that you can help, but there's also the point that you can't really do anything with a homeless person. What is that point that you were talking about?
Well, here's the thing. It's crazy. Okay, so let me be a little bit more specific with the homeless veteran, or a
Yeah, I'd like
general
to know
description
the
of the homeless
brain.
veteran. Okay, so uh, I mean, I'm 29. No, I'm 59. And when I was growing up, I would see a veteran on the side of the road. You know, you're pulling off the expressway, and he'd have a sign, a little cardboard sign. You know, we'll work for food. Help me, I'm a disabled veteran. Help me, I'm a homeless veteran. Stuff like that.
Mhm.
And if you gave the guy $20, he went and bought a small bottle of Mad Dog 2020 and maybe a pack of smokes, and he was happy for the day. If you tried to put him into a situation in which there was suitable shelter and food and all that other stuff, he might stay there a week, maybe two. But for the most part, because of the mental anguish that that category of soldier went through, there was a difference, and especially the way they were responded to when they came back from Vietnam. That they'd given up, they'd lost all hope, so they really didn't want the permanent home, and they
Right.
were on their own in most cases. They didn't. They might have had a dog. God, we all got dogs, don't we? Uh, Now it's not like that. Now I'm the oldest guy in the damn room, and the veterans are married and they have 2.3 proverbial kids, and they're living in a Jeep beside an Ingles grocery store, living off of shit that gets thrown away, and still
Mhm.
going to work. Some of them still have jobs. They leave their kids and their wife in their car all day while they're at a job. Figure that one out.
And it's
Uh,
becoming more normal, isn't it?
it's well, you know, they say here's as a former warrant officer, and I don't know if you said anything about that before in the intro or anything, but as a warrant officer, we have a different way of looking at stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, so I always tell people when I look at homeless veterans, I'm not looking at what everybody else in the room is looking at. I'm not when they're talking to me. I'm way past the question and answer phase. I'm looking to get to the root of the problem to see if there is something that can be changed. Uh, you see what I'm saying is especially as a VSO, veteran service officer,
Right.
my abilities through resources and as a program coordinator, my abilities, my resources are long term. I don't want you back. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? I want to rectify the problem. I want you to admit to it, and I want you to do all the work. Because
Mhm.
as far as I'm concerned, in the God knows damn near 31 years in the military, I can tell you right now who's responsible for the level of training that you receive. It's not training NCO. It's not a training officer. It's not the guy up on the platform. It's you. It's you. What do you get from this training? How many times have you ever been teaching a class? You see some guy out there going, oh, "This is fucking stupid." That guy ain't learning nothing.
Mhm.
So when you have a veteran that's homeless and you're talking to him about what are we going to do to fix this, and he's just giving up, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? He hasn't realized it yet. So that's where I come in, and I go, okay, look, here's the deal, buddy. I can come up with a whole plan. I can come up with a game plan right off the top of my shoulders there, and I can get you going, but I ain't gonna do it for you. And the reason why I can say this is because, well, I hate to break it, everybody, but I was homeless. I spiraled out of control. I had a cocaine problem, and I was an alcoholic. I destroyed my family. Absolutely destroyed my family. Um, Ex-wife, current wife at the time, couldn't get over the fact that I had a stripper girlfriend. She's got some nerve. So you see what I'm saying is I've gone through all this,
Mhm.
and I here I am with going through a master's degree in UAVs. All the experience in the world, a couple of languages, tons of training, and all that other stuff. And I'm applying for a job at Wendy's. I ain't trying to knock anybody who works at Wendy's. It's a good job, but was it a good job for me? And then when I didn't get the job at Wendy's, I was destroyed. You see what I'm saying? It just destroyed me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even get a job at Wendy's flipping freaking burgers, man. So I try to make sure they don't do that. The conversation I had today with a gentleman is, he goes, look, I'm going to go down to this temporary staffing place. I said, the hell you are. I said, you ain't ready for no job yet. We haven't addressed the problem. We haven't got to the root of the problem. We don't have a solution to what's currently bothering, what's currently holding you back. What is the objection to you getting back to being who you were when you were proud? You threw your shoulders back, you threw your chin up, and you said, bring it. Well, you know.
Yeah.
So he said, he goes, I got to have money. You know, yeah, go get a side job working at church raking leaves if you just need money. But don't think you're going to come into our program and just kind of hang around, because it just doesn't work that way. So I want people that are going to fight, and you know why it works. We're more successful than most. Is that we're all fighters. Everybody that's part of the staff, we're all fighters, and we're gonna get you back in the fight. And it may not just be me, and it may not just be Carmen, it may not just be Brendan or Johnny or Lonnie or Warren or any Pastor Dave. We brought on a pastor now, but we're going to get you back in the fight. And when we get you back in the fight, you know what? It's really great to see them succeed. It's amazing to watch them get a little traction underneath their feet, and how even their physical appearance changes. Even the way they look around the room, they're getting back to being a war fighter.
Exactly.
They're getting back to being a warrior. And we provided all the resources, the tools and everything else, but they got to fight. They got to fight. And you know, so that's a success story in Operation Rally Point. And I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. Last month, 2 months ago, we had to evict a guy. We had to actually evict a veteran from our program. We had to evict him from one of our apartments. Is that not the craziest damn thing in the world? Here you are, a nonprofit dealing with homeless veterans, and here you're making a veteran homeless. He wouldn't abide by the rules.
Right. You got to do that.
And we got other people in the pipeline. We got people that need places to stay, and they need food, and they need that nourishment. And I'm not just talking about food. I'm talking about physical, mental, and emotional nourishment that we give as a nonprofit. And so we asked him to go. He didn't want to go. He said, you're going to have to get the law involved. So we did. He never showed up for his trial. He didn't realize that in the state of Georgia, if you get evicted, you go on the bad boy list of Georgia, and you can't rent anywhere from anymore until you get that taken care of. He called us back about, it was a couple of weeks ago, and apologized. We didn't put him in an apartment, but we did get him a discounted rate at a hotel, and we're going to start working with him again. So sounds bad in the front end. Hey, we had to get rid of somebody. But the reality of the matter is that if he's willing to fight, we're willing to fight with him and for him. So
I have a little bit of a thing that, I'm sorry, Peggy. Go ahead.
So do you have a lot of people that end up falling out like that? Is that something you come across a lot that you've seen?
No, believe it or not, that we generally, I would say across the board, well into the 90 percentile, we are successful. And the reason is, God, I hate to turn the fire hose on the big programs, but we get personal. We get personal. We do. We know the kids' names. They come back. Hey, Uncle Mike. And pizza, and all the little kids come running, so that's the difference. Will we ever grow too big to not be that way? Not with the current plan that our CEO has as a vision. We're going to remain this, or we're not going to expand. So, we're already starting to look at other locations, but there'll be small towns like Monroe, Georgia, Loganville, Georgia, and the reason being is look, there's American Legions in every town. There's VFWs, there's churches, there's Hope Atlanta, there's HUD-VASH. there's really not a lot of in Georgia other for homeless veterans like we deal with at that point, like I told you about. So we're probably the largest, but to come full circle on the question, some of the people in positions of authority don't seem to think we really have a problem with homeless veterans. And here's how they do it is they say, you're in a hotel, you're not homeless.
No.
And like I was getting at, as far as being a warrant officer and looking at things differently, what I do is I look at the national statistics on homelessness in our country. The labor people, they say there's 70,000 plus. The VA, the people who got to shell out the money, they say there's 16 to 20,000. And we spent $1 billion in 2023 on homelessness. Did you really? Because if you take $1 billion, you divide it by 50 equally, that's how much each state should have got. Now, I know I'm being kind of stupid with that. And here we are in Georgia. I'm sure Georgia probably has more than Rhode Island because, hell, you can have the whole state of Rhode Island carpeted for the $80. But the point of the matter is that here I work at probably the largest homeless veteran non-specific nonprofit in Georgia. And the VA didn't show up at our door giving us a check. Hell, if you call the national hotline, the VA national hotline for homelessness, and it registers your phone as being in Atlanta or the east side of Atlanta, they give you our phone number, but they don't give us a check. Figure that one out.
Yeah, no, I think that there is a national problem, and it's even gotten worse just on non-veterans. A lot more middle class are now becoming the highest homeless rate in our nation. Absolutely. And it's sad. But I like your idea and your plan because
I can fix it. I can fix all of it. Just ask me.
I know that they need to.
I'm smart too.
They need to have more of our organizations connecting ourselves. I mean, we're used to being a huge organization that, until the government took over, this whole VA thing. I mean,
first thing I'd do if somebody was to screw up and make me the king, one, I'd wear stockings instead of socks just because I'm that guy. Two, I'd get rid of the VA.
Yeah.
I'd get rid of the VA. When you became a veteran, and that's the day you walked out of the military, you got a card. Not necessarily my Amazon Prime card. I was paying my bill. Here, let's do it this way. Let's do it. You'd get a card. And that card said you were a veteran. And that means you go to your doctor. That's your health care.
Yeah.
Simple.
Why not? I want the health care that the government gets, that the senators and all that.
You know what? I want the same thing, if not better, than my elected officials. How about
exactly.
That? My elected officials, as a minimum, House of Representative makes $178,000 a year.
Why not? It should be our right.
It seems to me like if you pay your elected officials 10 times more than the national poverty level, there's something going on. People are wanting to run for office, not to be we the people.
No, we can get rich easy.
Yeah, to get paid. And see, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
No.
So
I said I would be a dictator too. I'd be assassinated in probably 3 days.
you want to get education? Look, we don't have to tell all veterans that they're going to get their master's degree. I understand. But you know what? Your undergraduate degree, you put it on the card. Your veteran card. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a snot about it, you want to be all hoity-toity, then you say, okay, if you've only done 6 years, you get an associate's degree. This is good for a 2-year degree.
Yeah.
Or trade school. which I'm big on trade schools. All right, so let's say you serve 12 years, bachelor's degree. If you retire with 20, master's degree. Shit. I mean, why is this so hard?
It's not.
Okay, so, how many people are really going to use it? How many people really use it now? I'm here to tell you, I bet you it's less than 20% of all veterans use their post 9/11 GI Bill. I'm willing to bet. And then when it runs out, why the hell does my educational benefits run out?
That's what I didn't understand. They're like, well, you have 10 years to use it after you get out. I'm like, only 10 years, but I served. So I would have that for the rest of my life. So if something happened and I needed to go back later, I could. This doesn't make sense.
Here's what I want to see. Here we are invading a small country. And about halfway through the battle, I go, oh, my money ran out. You guys go fight. I'm going to wait here.
Yeah. Hey, wasn't it? Didn't they have a time period where none of the soldiers were paid? I can't remember.
That was kind of the government was shutting down, and they said the guys weren't going to get paid. I don't think that really happened because.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
I think that was kind of maybe a little Main Street.
But what
mainstream news kind of was trying to attack the current.
What about them being on food stamps? What is up with
now here's
that?
the deal. Yeah, here's the deal. I have two. Like I said, my daughter is extremely successful, and my oldest son Maximilian is just a brilliant young man, and he works basically. I know he's going to kill me if he ever sees it, but he's a design engineer on those things.
Yes.
For a company that doesn't work for the company you're thinking, PlayStation.
Right.
And it's the same company that makes and designs these things. I don't know if camera's going to show you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you guys are catching what I'm saying without me saying it. Okay. So he gets, All right. He's 20. He'll be 27. So 21-ish, he was working on his degree from Southern Polytech in coding. He was picking up a language, Korean, and stuff like that. He wanted to do international business sales in that gaming industry and whatnot. And so he looked at me one day and he said, Dad, I'm thinking about maybe going in the military. I went, no. And he said, but Dad, no. Not going to do it, son. And he said, why? I said, okay, you have some college, right? So you'll go in as an E3. Let me show you what you're going to make as a single E3. And he went, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $1,000, $1,200. That's it. And then, now see, what people don't understand, general civilians don't understand, is they think like the PX and they think like the commissary is super cheap. And you could just go in there for $9 and buy your monthly groceries. Bullshit.
Nope.
It ain't no cheaper. Hell, I've seen PXs where stuff was more expensive than Walmart, more expensive than BrandSmart, stuff like that. Best Buy, Best Buy runs great sales, and it's cheaper than the electronics at the PX. Yep. So, and then food. Well, yeah, you can go eat on post all the time, but oh God. It's not that it's okay, but it's cafeteria food for the best, if you're eating in the chow hall all the time. So when he got a look at that, and then I said, yeah, look how messed up your dad is, and he's like, you're not messed up. And I said, who said I was your dad? You look at that and if they really, you add on all what's going on with the woke culture and all that other stuff, and you talk to these guys, and they act like they're confused. They say, I don't know why we're having a recruiting problem. And it's like, wow, I've traveled around the world. I speak multiple languages. I've done some really crazy shit in those time I was in the military. And I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of guys that are absolutely brilliant. I know one guy, I'll tell you right now, he is the smartest man I have ever met. And he is the smartest man I probably will ever meet. He was one of my company commanders, Captain Kirkland. And if he is ever watching this, I believe he went to lieutenant colonel, but this guy was brilliant. I mean, you would say, how many bricks are in the wall at the Kremlin? He'd go and tell you, and you'd go, just scary how smart he was. Okay. So I learned a lot from these guys. These guys are the guys that say stuff like, always make a larger footprint than the one you stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
And you ponder that for a little bit. Okay. You ponder that. These are the guys you want to follow into combat. If you're going to go to war, these are the guys you want to go with because they're smart. And then you talk to these guys that are wearing stars on their chest and they go, I really don't know why we have a problem with recruitment. And you go, are you stupid? Are you just stupid? You got a guy prancing around like a woman on a video and you're saying, come join the Navy. It ain't going to happen because the people, it's kind of like, you ever watch the show? I have PTSD, so I can go from channel to channel, buddy.
Yeah, and we're right there with you. We understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't follow me down this rabbit hole. Okay, have you ever watched the show SEAL Team?
Yes.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Big burly guys, big Navy SEALs, killing and shooting. And then about 30 minutes of the 45-minute show is relationship issues and how they're dealing with their wife. And their wife is complaining because they spend so much time away from home. And I don't give a shit. Because the fact of the matter is that the people that produce the show think that's what the population wants to see. But people that are watching SEAL Team, they don't want to see that crap. They could care less about your girlfriend or your wife or your puppy dog. They don't care. We want to see shooting and killing, and we want to see the bad guy go down.
Right.
So you make a show that does all that like they used to, like Rat Patrol and some of the World War II stuff, and you will get the military back.
Mm-hmm.
But all this other namby-pamby stuff, and look, the pay is deplorable. The pay is deplorable. How do you have E4s and below on food stamps? How do you have E4s and below that are married with children that are still on the poverty level? Do you really want to be known around the world as being the military that maintains a fighting force that's poor?
Exactly.
If we're going to do that, I got an idea. Bring back the conscript army. Say, too bad, so sad. You turn 17. You're not in college. You got 6 months when you graduate from high school. See, I can fix all of this. I got programs, buddy. Here's the deal. You graduate from high school. You got 6 months, Junior. If you're not in college, damn. Pick a branch.
So we interviewed Nate Landell last week, and he's from Israel, and they make everybody go through the military.
And the idea squared away, and I'd go to battle with any of them. And you know what the IDF uses for marksman instructors and martial arts instructors? The women.
I told you. I was warned a long time ago.
Freaking badass as hell. There ain't no guy girl thing. Yeah, you know what? The whole. You know why there is military sexual trauma in the military that you don't hear about and stuff like that is because when the girl reports it, when the woman or the man in some cases reports it, nothing happens. So these idiots think they can keep getting away with it.
Yep.
I got an idea. If a woman reports it, you kick the living shit out of the guy that's getting accused of it. And that shit will stop. Because don't nobody want to get beat down like that.
No.
And you don't promote him.
No.
You don't move him to another unit. You kick the shit out the guy. And that'll stop. And there's maybe somebody watching the show going, oh, wow, this guy is so mean. He's violent. I choose violence.
Because it honestly made me wonder.
In third world countries. And let me tell you something. If you think the rest of this world isn't violent, you ain't following the right thread on Facebook, brother, because I'm here to tell you, in Afghanistan, they smacking people around daily. In Iraq, they smacking people around daily. Now let's go to the ones that aren't in the news. Venezuela. Come on, man. They're killing people in the streets.
All the time.
Yeah, it just doesn't make the news. So is that the right way to do it? Well, I'm telling you, let's see. Our democracy has lasted 250 plus years. It's way past its prime. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
what,
They're trying to erase history.
right. Yeah. Why are they trying
So,
to erase history? How does that make sense?
Doesn't
well,
make any
because
sense.
then,
I think
yeah.
we should jump it up. You know what? I watch a lot of videos, YouTube, because basically I have not much, left upstairs. So at 2 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep, I watch YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite are like sovereign citizens or First Amendment auditors or people that are getting arrested for drunk driving. And tell you the honest to goodness truth, I like when they get muscled up a little bit. I like it. Because the first thing that they always say was, I wasn't doing nothing wrong. Or they start screaming, I know my rights, when they don't know their rights. Or I know this, I know that. And that's because mommy and daddy never spanked them and never told them no. So now they're outside the house and they have to deal with the world and they don't like the way the world treats them. So they throw a fit. So look, I'm Sicilian. We like to muscle things up a little bit.
Well, when you do the homeless, because I think I'm proud that I'm a warrior. Okay. I
Sure.
may not have fought in combat, but I've been taught and I've gone through just as much as anybody else in different things.
Sure.
So I'm proud that I'm a warrior. I have that history. I think that it's become so bad because of Vietnam, ignoring them, that now we have these people that just accept, oh, it's a terrible thing to be a warrior. It's I can't, I shouldn't be proud of what I did or the choices I had to do or anything like that. And I can understand that, but on the same time, it needs to be said, listen, you did a job that had to be done.
Right.
And I'm happy. I'm proud of you that you did that job. Are you suffering the consequences of seeing those faces?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Every day.
But
Every day.
you know what?
There
did
is
it.
an answer to this problem. Here again, the world according to the military, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think we stopped sticking our nose where it doesn't damn belong.
Since when why are we doing Ukraine? $111 billion we've given so far.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about another, 55 billion?
Yeah.
Well,
I know why we're doing it, but apparently you're not allowed to say it.
Oh,
obviously
to run the economy. That's the only reason. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, the current administration has ties to the Ukrainian government. Does anybody really think Zelensky lives in the Ukraine?
No,
I don't. I think he's got a nice mansion in Costa Rica, or wherever.
I don't even think I think he's just a face.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not even a leader.
And isn't it crazy that we sit there and if you here again have that Warrant Officer sunglasses and you look at the reality of something, what is the most in this war, the Ukraine war, what is the most highly used and highly publicized weapon of this war? Anyone?
Bueller? I was going to say the
Bueller.
Bueller? No.
The drone.
Oh, did we get those over there?
No, not the big $1 million drones.
Oh, thank goodness.
The little couple of $100 drones.
I thought Germany provided that.
Oh no!
No, they did the tanks.
Let's see. No. If you had $100 billion and you were buying $400 drones, how many drones could you buy? It doesn't make sense to me. We're spending more money on less expensive hardware than ever before in any conflict known to man. We're spending less money on the equipment.
Almost like they're money laundering, isn't it?
Well, they do have that missing money who got killed on that?
Yeah. Okay. So here. Okay. Like I flew AH-1s. I flew Cobras. Okay. So we had rockets. 2.75 folding fin aerial rockets. We had the TOW missile, tube launch optically tracked wire guided missile. And then we had 20 millimeter, the electric prime cannon up front. Okay, so basically the rule of thumb is this aircraft just flying in a non-mission profile, a non-combat profile, cost about $1,100 to $1,500 an hour to operate. They took everything into consideration, okay? All right, so now you take that same aircraft and you take away the rockets and you take away the fuel and you take away that, you make it a $400 drone. How in the world can we be spending hundreds of billions of dollars? Now, look, are there some, Bradley fighting vehicles there? Yeah, probably so. I think we sent a couple dozen M1 tanks. Okay, but we haven't sent $100 billion. So if you look further into that, you will find that we're paying the wages for the soldiers. Okay, which is cool. I got it. I got it. Ukraine can't currently export anything, and there's probably not much taxation going on right now to the civilian populace. So they're going to need money. They got to pay these guys or they won't fight. Okay, so is it $100 billion worth? Okay, so let's take that into consideration. Then let's turn around and let's say, where's the rest of it going? So there was some news articles that came out that were paying not only the salaries, but we're paying some of the civilian populace, like the government. Okay, I can dig it. I can dig it. You got to have a government. I'm cool. I'm down with it. But is it $100 billion worth? So then you got to start saying, where's the rest of the money going? And that's the part that should make you think that something is not right here. Mm-hmm. It's the unaccounted for margins. Remember when I was talking about homeless veterans in the United States, the VA says there's 16,000. The Department of Labor says there's 70,000. 16,000, 70,000. What the hell's going on here in the middle? Why is there so much? You know, when a guy is cheating on a woman, when there's unanswerable time, why did it take you 2 hours to go to the convenience store? He's cheating. And why does it cost $100 billion for us to fight a war in the Ukraine when it would be cheaper to just pack our shit and go over there and wax the Russians for probably a tenth of the cost? And that's because there's somebody, somehow, some way, organizations, corporations, something where this money's going.
Making a profit somewhere.
And it just doesn't make sense to me that we can take a picture of a galaxy 1,000 light years away that's traveling at the speed of light for a year times 1,000. And we can take a crystal clear photo of that. We can land a spaceship on a comet that we launched 28 years ago.
I just saw that. Yeah.
Okay. And it tracks it and it follows it and then lands on it. We can do all these things. But you can't tell me who went to Epstein's Island?
Bullshit. What?
You can't tell me where $100 billion has gone in the Ukraine. Now I don't know if you guys have ever been to that part of the world.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, look, my family is Sicilian. I lived in Germany for years. I've been to Southwest Asia, Middle East, that kind of stuff. So I've seen these. Okay, it ain't in the houses that are there, because the houses that are there are pretty much made of dirt, mud, and yak poo. All right. I mean, they'll stick anything together and call it a house. So it ain't that. Until we have a government that answers to the people instead of to each other, mm-hmm. we're going down the wrong path. Am I saying there's going to be a civil war? God, I hope not. I'm the last guy in the world that wants a war. But here's the thing: is if we are going to war, what's it going to be about? Is it going to be black versus white? I don't see it. Too many interracial relationships. You see what I'm saying? That's one reason. Is it going to be Democrat versus Republican? Well, hell, how do you know I'm a Democrat? How do you know I'm a Republican? I say it. Come on, that's not worth fighting over. It's worth arguing. I've lost many friends, but it's not worth dying over. No. Is it? If are you going to fight if somebody's a transvestite that's in the bathroom with your, a male that's in the bathroom with a little girl? See, these are things that'll get you killed. It may be accepting in California, but I'm here to tell you something like that ain't going to fly where I live. They'll find that guy all beat up somewhere. All right. So there's certain things that are crossing the line. I don't understand all that stuff. Look, if you want to say you're transgender, if you want to do all that, if you're gay or anything else like that, it doesn't bother me a bit. I've got friends in every direction, and I love them all dearly. But the fact of the matter is when that affects my lifestyle, when that affects me, then you got to at least listen to me. I'm not saying you got to be accepting of me, because if you don't accept me, that's your problem. That's not my problem. But you at least have got to respect me and my decision. You want me to respect you and your decision, then you got to respect my decision. Respect works both ways.
Yes.
So what confuses me is that when this gets thrown in your face, and I get told I have to accept it. And that's what I think our government is kind of doing these days, is they're throwing it in our face and they're saying, if you don't like it, you're a racist. If you don't like it, you're domestic terrorist, and all this other stuff. And it's, what's the answer to this? I always been told, and like I said about the homeless thing, is I've always been told to find a solution. Whatever the problem is, find a solution.
Right.
Right.
Like I said, get rid of VA hospitals. If you're not going to get rid of VA hospitals, and you can't hire anybody to work in VA hospitals, well, you got the National Guard in every freaking state. You got Army Reserve in every freaking state. Those people medical people have MOSs. What's the second most expensive form of training? 1 is ranges. 2 is medical training.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start pulling up bandages and playing with it. Oh, look, you got some fake blood on me and all that other stuff. Carry the fat guy in the stretcher around the park. That ain't training. Give me a break. Make them do their drills at the VA hospitals.
Yeah.
Working on real live patients.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. And the VA can't say, we can't afford that. You don't have to pay for it. The people are on drill weekend. They're already getting paid. There are people in the military that their MOS is military coding, or medical coding, medical records. The VA says they're behind in all their medical records and coding.
Mm-hmm.
You got a National Guard unit right down the street. Probably in 6 months, everything would be caught up. See, they don't want to do that, because when those guys in uniform come in and start kicking their ass, then the civilians are going to say, oh, they're making us look bad. No, you're making you look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just read, and I did not know this, and maybe you guys do, that the illegals are now having our VA people process their paperwork.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I did see a
it's
place up in New York. I think it was like one of the offshoot places that they did have soldiers, veterans living in a building, and they kicked them out to put illegals in.
No. This is what I'm saying.
You're
is
saying
that
the VA is processing them?
processing, instead of processing, claims.
Veteran claims and whatnot. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that they are
I would have to look
processing.
into that. I would definitely
Yeah,
have to look into that.
because it was talking about how they are
Mm.
processing the illegals before processing, because they're so overrun.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
And
hey,
so
look,
now they're using the VA employees that are supposed to be, we're so far behind on our own claims.
and let me tell you something. If I was an illegal alien, I'd say, God, can I get somebody else to do it? Because I mean, look, I pick on the VA. I basically have to work with the VA as a VSO. I'm not a VA accredited VSO. If anybody's watching, I don't work for the VA. I'm not VA accredited. I think the volunteer VSO program, basically is what I am, is crap. It really is. I think they should get rid of it. I think they should make it illegal to be a volunteer VSO. I think they should outlaw my job today at 7. Because out of the 100 VSOs that I know that are volunteers, I would trust my paperwork with like 2 of them. And then the rest,
I've been screwed over so many times with them.
Look, tell you how crazy it is. It sometimes I'm in every veteran Facebook group there is, but I don't post anything. Now I'll do stuff. I'll direct message people. I sit there each and every day, every single day. I read inaccurate information. One veteran giving another veteran bad info, and I try to address it. There's a friend of mine. I will look real quick. She is brilliant, but she won't be a VSO. She won't do it. But man, I tell you what, she's smart as hell. We kind of have both had the same mentor, gentleman that passed away 2 years ago. But I'm here to tell you that she is great. Her name is Stephanie, and she's probably going to yell at me. And I will try real quick while we're talking here to look up her link and put it in there on her YouTube channel. But she's brilliant, and she does live shows, question and answer live shows. Now, let me tell you something. I have a podcast. I'm starting a new show called Operation Rally Point Sit Rep, where I'm going to be kind of my goofy self talking about today's topics, the military, all the stuff we're talking about tonight. I'm going to do it, but I'm going to make sure I'm either stoned or half drunk when I'm doing it. It should be pretty funny. So that'll be called it. We're also filming The Hungry Prepper, which is a show about
I was going to say, what about that?
Yeah, in fact, today we had a meeting about that. We're in video for that. We're filming. So we're also working on a documentary about homelessness. It's going to probably be 13 or 14 episodes. We just got done filming, and it's in editing right now, the part about Operation Rally Point. Stage it, do a set for a vet, talk to a guy. It ties to one of my radio stations, WP3 Radio, the Proud Patriot Project, the whole radio station is nothing but veterans and first responders. So the reason why I'm saying all this, if you can't tell, I've separated myself from the civilian world. I pulled myself away from it because I don't seem to understand them. Because if I was a civilian, I would be rattling my saber. I would be a complete and utter nightmare right now. I would be at the city hall. I can't do that as a veteran that represents as the program coordinator VSO for Operation Rally Point, as the post-service officer at an American Legion post, as the vice president of the Valkyrie Initiative in Birmingham, Alabama, and as the owner of the Foxhole Internet Radio Network. If I go to these city halls and I say what I want to say, and I make a damn fool out of myself saying it, then I'm going to get doxxed. And see, I don't deal with somebody like you see on YouTube where people get nose to nose yelling at each other. Let me assure you, that's not going to be the case with me. I address things much differently. I'm a big guy, and look, I've seen the horrors of the world. Not to mention, I was a floor manager at a strip joint for 6 years. So let me tell you something. Not only have I seen the horrors of the world, I've seen the sicko weirdo stuff too. So I got that going for me. If everybody starts doing that, then we're going to, the streets are going to run red. It's not a good idea to have somebody like me in charge. That's why I'm perfectly okay with being a number 2, being a number 3, and letting guys that are a hell of a lot smarter than me, a hell of a lot more political than me, and a hell of a lot more diplomatic than me. Because, like I said before, I choose violence. I do. You don't fly an attack helicopter and be a okay kind of quiet guy. That's not what they're looking for. If you ever meet a boxer who says, "Hey, how are you? I'm fine. Yeah, I'm going to go plant some flowers," that guy's going to get the crap beat out of him.
Yeah.
You want the guy. You want the McGregor. They're yelling and screaming. Those are the guys that are the winners. Those are the warriors.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you want. That's what we want on our side. We don't need all that namby-pamby stuff. Let that guy run the place. Now, look, you guys really should interview Sheila Stevens. She is the president of the Valkyrie Initiative, and she's an absolute sweetheart. But she's got a great story. She was injured when she was in the law enforcement world and stuff like that. And so,
Peggy.
She's very excellent. She's going for her doctorate right now. So she's not only absolutely just the love of my life. She's married, but I'm helping her husband with his VSO stuff, so I got to be nice. No, I've known Sheila for a very long time, and the Valkyrie Initiative has Valkyrie Radio, And so a lot of that music is picked specifically by her. But you guys really should interview her. She's brilliant,
Awesome.
and she's got such a great cause. She actually set this up and has just about gone in debt for the last 10 years of her life, providing free alternative medical treatment to veterans and first responders out of her own
Wow.
pocket in most cases.
You
So
got to set us up.
I will.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
she's amazing. Okay, and then I'll get you in touch with Brandon Watts, the CEO of Operation Rally Point. You think I'm weird? He's weird and nowhere near as smart as I am. So yeah, he's infantry. Most of the guys in the operation are infantry, and then you got me, the aviator guy. So I always have to go. Okay, I'll talk slower. I won't use big words, stuff like that. So aviation guys, you got to pick on it. It's a fight, each and every day. I think veterans are slowly but surely starting to migrate closer to each other. I think that we're starting to rely on each other a little bit more. uh in our office at Operation Rally Point, when you walk in, there's dog tags hanging from the ceiling in the whole front office and starting down, and they are dog tags of fallen warriors from Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. And that's what gets us up every day. That's what makes us go into the office, because you walk through there and it is a humbling sight to see the dog tags of the dead, the ones that we've left behind. Many of us have done that real slow salute, and unfortunately, I had to bury one of my best friends that I had been deployed with. Somebody I called brother, we had to bury him this last weekend, and due to a heart attack last week. And it when all the veterans get together. Now, Big Mike Carter, he was a belt man for a sergeant major that you've interviewed. You remember Barry Smallwood?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
His belt man is the gentleman that passed away this last week.
Oh, no.
And so, Barry is, as you can look back to that interview or just ask Granny, Barry is an exceptional human being.
Very smart.
I've seen him naked, so I'm not real sure if he's a man, but there's a little tucking going on or something. But if he's watching, I'm in trouble. But what an amazing guy. And these are the guys that I went to combat with.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it different for me. I pity the E4 that never got to be associated with men like Barry Smallwood.
Yeah.
I worry about pilots that didn't get to fly with Captain Kirkland. I know why your military period sucked, because you didn't get to meet great men like I did. And that's what every single day when I walk in my office and I see those dog tags, that's what keeps me going. That's the fuel for my fire. That's the motivation. It's what keeps me, it damn sure ain't money. I don't know too many soldiers. I know a few that came out wealthy, but for the most part, most soldiers could care less about the money. I'm more in tune with the guy that you call up and you say, "Hey, we're going to do something bad," and they get real quiet on the phone, and you go, "What'd you get quiet for?" And they're going, "Well, we taking my car or yours?" That's the big concern. Not it.
Mhm.
So that's kind of
And
where
that's what Barry talked about, is like, you get the call, you're in the car, and you're on the
Yeah.
way. And he actually mentioned that you were one of them that was there for him when
Yeah.
he made the call.
Yeah.
So, that's what we need more of.
He won't tell you, but to tell you how close we are, and I love the man to death. He's a little taller than me, but I'd dance with him. He fell out, and not when he was deployed with me, but he went back. He's crazy. He went back as a civilian, and then he went back as a soldier again. God knows how many deployments he's got, but I'm sure it's in the double digits.
I think there's a few, because he couldn't talk about the one that has a civilian, really. So
yeah, he's an intel guy, so
yeah.
I'm sure that but he had kind of passed out in an office. And when I say an office, it's not like an office building. You guys know that. And the E7, the sergeant first class that was with him when it happened, called me on either a sat phone or on Autovon back in the United States and told me Barry's down. And I'm like, where's he at? Like I'm going to do something. 8,000 miles away. I'm on my way,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's how close we all are. And that's the bond that we share. And what's really crazy about that is I share that with all of you. When people call up and say, hey, I'm a former Marine, or, I was a Marine, I always go, oh God, here we go. And they go, what? And I go, I got to keep crayons in my office. And they, and then Navy guys always pick on. Air Force guys is like, okay, don't use any big words. I'm not that smart. And it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. We served our time together.
Yeah.
Even though we may have never met each other but we served. We all been through that. And
exactly.
then, and that's what kind of bonds us together. So guess what? As the world continues to go to shit, I think the veterans are going to start pulling together more and more. And I'm perfectly okay with that. But there's going to have to be some changes.
Mm-hmm.
I look, I don't have my report in front of me. But okay, there's 2 people that answer the phone at Operation Rally Point last month. No, let's go to November. Yeah, last month, right? Like I said, me and Watts had the phone last month. How many phone calls do you think we took in a month?
Probably 38.
That's probably on the low end, Grady.
I don't know.
Just short of 500 phone calls in a month.
Wow.
One day, 39 phone calls in one day. My report today said 17. I took 19 calls yesterday. During noon to 1 o'clock, I did 5 phone calls and had 7 messages in a 1 hour span.
Wow.
And yet the VA says we don't have a homeless problem.
No,
We don't have a claims problem. We don't look. The whole thing for claims is simple. It's a simple fix. What's the worst thing to the VSO thing is you let veterans get online and file their own claims.
Yeah.
That's dumber than dumb. That's like if dumb was a math problem and you put a little 2 by it, that'd be dumb squared. I don't know how to work on my air conditioner. I don't know how to work on your air conditioner. The last person you should say, hey, Mike, come over and work on my air conditioner would probably be me, because I'm going to break your shit.
Yep.
So when you let me, Chief Warrant Officer Knucklehead, get in there and file my own claim.
I know. It's on purpose.
State Farm doesn't let you file your own claim.
Nope.
Progressive doesn't let you file your own claim. The bank doesn't let you maintain your own checking account. You don't get to just walk in and put your money in the bank, do you?
No.
You got to go through them. So why the hell? You know why they do it? Is because so many people were bitching that they were behind the power curve and they weren't getting the claims processed fast enough. So they said, hey, I got an idea. Let's put it online and let them do it themselves. Oh, yeah, that worked good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
At any given time, there's over 300,000 open claims out there. When they said the PACT Act and sent out a letter to everybody saying, you may be eligible for PACT Act benefits, they never really said that you have to be diagnosed with one of the presumptive conditions.
Right.
So everybody called me. I'm telling you, 2.3 million people called me in one afternoon. Hey, I want to apply for this PACT Act stuff. It's like, do you have a presumptive condition? Didn't say nothing about that. They said there's money available for me.
Yep.
So that 300,000 number went to over 800,000 and teetered right up by 1 million open claims.
Mm-mm-mm.
You know how many people it takes. So how did they address that issue? They came up with a bot. They came up with an artificial intelligence. And basically, when you file a claim now, it goes through an automated system. So what could it possibly be looking for? Let's do some of that chief warrant officer shit, Nav.
Those
It looks for
conditions.
words. It does keyword searches. Do you know the keywords to use?
Nope.
So you see what I'm saying? Is horrible, horrible remedy to a horrible problem.
Yeah.
It's not, people say, oh, it's about the money. They don't want to pay out the money. You think the VA gives a living crap about paying you money? You think the person that's processing your claim says, I don't want this guy to get any money. They don't care. We're giving them way too much credit to think that for 1 second, that person who's processing your claim gives a rat's ass about whether you get the money or not, because they don't. The evaluators that check you when you put in your claim and you go to a third-party vendor like LHI, UP, or VES, or QTC, people will say, oh, those guys don't want to pay. They're not paying. They don't care. They're getting paid. They're getting paid whether you come in for your CMP exam or you don't. They're still making money. Do they care? When you go in there and say, oh, my shoulder hurts, and you go, I get a little bit shoulder. You think they care? They don't care. We're giving them way too much credit. They don't give a rat's ass. You go in there and you say the right thing and do the right thing according to like the CFR Table 38, which is federal disability charts. If you answer those questions when you go in there in the first 3 to 5 minutes, you will be seen and you will be successful in your claim. If you go in there, like you go for a mental health examination and the guy goes, so tell me what's up. And you go, nothing. I'm fine. Then they have to start at the very beginning. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you go in there in the first 30 seconds, you make it like trying to take a sip out of a fire hydrant, you're going to get their attention. And if they care about people with mental health, and generally in the mental health area, people are generally care. They really do, because it's new. I mean, they've gotten 100 times better at it than it used to be. But generally, I can tell you what it takes to be 0 rated, 10%, 30%, 50%, 70%, or 100% PTSD. You know how I can do that? Because it's listed in the federal table of disabilities. It tells you exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
Absolutely, 100%. But the everyday Joe doesn't know that. So when he goes in there and says, I wet the bed and then I run around the house with my loaded pistol, and puts that on his claim, they go, okay, we got another nut job. And then when he comes in, he's going to be a tough guy and he ain't going to say nothing to nobody. And then he gets rated 10% PTSD. And then he hates the VA because they don't want to pay him. It's a faulty system. The whole system is faulty. There should be only VA accredited VSOs, not drop that name altogether. There should be people at the Veterans Administration, Veteran Affairs, that handle claims. When you go and you get an evaluation for your primary care physician, your primary care physician turns those notes over to the raters and evaluators. They have you come in and they address the issues that a medical doctor says you have. So there's your diagnosis of condition.
Mm-hmm.
Then the rater, through due diligence or what's called duty to attest, they research your service treatment records, your VA records, or any civilian doctor records to see if this problem, this condition, this issue originated during your service. A lot of people say, oh, you can't get a claim unless it was diagnosed while you were in. Not true. If that was the case, there wouldn't be anybody out there with PTSD, really. Because generally, when you're in the military, you don't tell the military you got PTSD.
No.
They'll boot your ass out in a second because they don't want to deal with you. So what happens is you go home and you self-medicate, you do drugs, you drink, you chase strippers. Hey, I've heard this story. And you think you're getting better.
Yep.
And unfortunately, what happens is you finally break down and you do get a shrink or a therapist and they give you medication. Shrink can only prescribe medication. You take that medication and then it's kind of like you get to feeling better, so you stop. Or in some medications, you can't drink and take that medication. Doctor will warn you. They'll say, don't you take that damn Lyrica and drink. It's just going to blow your liver out. So you know what you stop doing?
You stop taking the medicine.
You start drinking. I'm hardcore, man. I'm a ginger ale kind of guy.
I actually like ginger ale.
I did. Yeah. You know what I do? You want to hear something funny? I mix it with cranberry juice.
Yeah.
I mix it with cranberry juice and I put a shot of lime in there.
I was just gonna say the lime.
And a little vodka or rum.
No, you don't drink anymore. You don't even drink anymore.
I don't drink anymore. But yeah, cranberry juice and ginger ale with a little shot of lemon in it. It's delicious.
And lots of ice. Lots of ice.
Yeah, lots of ice. It's got to be cold. Warm ginger ale is like, so.
No.
All right, so you got me for what? Just a couple more minutes. So if you got a hard question.
Peggy?
Well, you covered a lot, Mike. I want to ask you, actually, I do have another question. Okay. I've noticed when I went to the VA and you go to the social worker, usually that's who you go to when you're having financial problems and needing help. They give you a list at our VA, and it's pages long. However, when you go through that list and you start looking and you start calling, if you're in bankruptcy, guess what? 95% of that list won't touch anything to do with you.
Sure.
They hang up on you immediately.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I found is a number one problem of homelessness here where I live, because the list that they're giving people is shit. I hate to say it, but it is.
It's a resource list. I've actually gave people a phone number before and said, call them. They've called, got another name, got another number, got another name, got another number, got another name, got another number, and then called me back and said, I've talked to 8 people and I got full circle and they gave me your name and your number.
Wow.
See, because one thing that people don't understand, and it's one thing that Operation Rally Point doesn't do. We don't just give out discretionary money to help pay bills and stuff like that. You have to kind of enter into our program, and our program is based on homelessness. So that's first thing we do is shelter, food. We have a resource for clothing and food. We have a resource to get you in contact with Hope Atlanta and HUD-VASH and stuff like that. So if you need to see the VSO, if you have, we brought on a pastor, Pastor Dave now, that if you need some spiritual help, some guidance on that. So yeah, we don't look, I'll piss off your listeners, your viewers. We don't need any more monuments, please. No more veteran monuments, please. Stop with the damn monuments. Yeah. Every freaking turn and every town, there's another damn monument that costs millions of freaking dollars. Stop it. We don't need any more.
Yeah, but it's taxed.
Yeah, we got it. Y'all love us. Great. You want to help us? Help us.
Help us.
Homelessness needs to be addressed individually. It's almost as important as PTSD or mental conditioning, that it's case by case. It may be the same when you read it in a book. The whole chapter might be the same, but the initial evaluations, you've got to find out what the problem is. You've got to overcome that objection. You've got to isolate that problem. You've got to rectify that problem. And sometimes it is money. Sometimes the simple question is, I'm starting a new job in a month and I can't afford my apartment this month. I need $500. Something.
Yeah. Where do you get it?
Right.
Good luck.
You can't.
There's some sideways places out there charge you, these signature loan, unsecured signature.
Oh gosh.
I mean, that's 35% interest.
Wow.
So and I'm sorry, but I'm tired of illegals getting free housing, food, all of that.
The actual money thing isn't the problem. Having the money to help veterans isn't the problem. If that was the problem, then why are the hotels in New York filled with illegal immigrants that aren't even paying taxes? They're taking that money and they're going down to the Wells Fargo and they're sending it back home. So even the money the taxpayers are giving them, we're not getting it back. And the food's free, the place is free. They're destroying the tourism in New York City and all that other stuff. So if it was money, hey, look, I'll be honest with you. If you take all those numbers I gave you earlier and you take a certain amount of the veterans and you said we spent $1 billion, believe it or not, what you could have done is you could have took that $1 billion and wrote every legitimately homeless veteran a check for $50,000 and just handed it to him. Worst case of worst, you won't have to deal with them for about a year. Most of them can live off $50,000.
Exactly.
But we didn't do that. We didn't do that. we spent it on people that need $250,000 salaries, and we spend it on people that go to $250 a night black tie events, and we spend it on stand downs. What the hell is a stand down? We're going to stand down today for homeless situational awareness. So you're not going to go to work today to bring awareness to homelessness. Are we stupid?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we stupid? Are we tolerating stupid?
Yes, more and more every day.
I think I'm going to get a shirt that says, let's stop stupidness.
I think so. Oh, you should sell it too.
I am. I'm going to sell them for $1,900 a piece.
No, do the regular $19.99.
Right.
Let's stop.
Regularly priced $39.99.
Or yes, keep it simple, stupid, like they taught us in the military.
That's it. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining us today.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
Really enjoyed our talk.
All the time, every time.
I know I'm a bit of a handful, and
That's okay.
But
like that.
I do. I'm very passionate. I'm very passionate about veterans. I'm very passionate about veteran type talking points. My daughter always threatens me that I'm going to be talking to the congressman one day. And I have talked to some congressmen. I have talked to some state assemblymen and stuff like that. And they're scared to death of me because they really know that I'm going to get up there and I'm going to call them out on stuff. And the thing about it is there are people in our government that are trying to do it. I mean, you saw the guy that runs Department of Homeland. He's up there. They're going, dude, you should resign. You suck. And you should be ashamed of yourself. And he's like this. Really? Are you talking to me? Because I think I'm doing a great job. My mom told me I'm doing a good job. You guys are complete blithering idiots. And the whole Democrat Republican thing. Yeah, look, that's one reason I could never run for office, because if I was one of the parties, and I'll tell you, I don't mind telling you, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican hardcore, but I'm here to tell you is nobody's going to tell me you're a Republican, you're going to vote this way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to contact as many people as I can that I represent, and I'm going to find out what way they want me to vote. And that's the honest to goodness truth. And if every last one of them that are in Washington, D.C., they can't say that too, why is it that we let them get in front of us and we ask them questions and they run away?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that? Why
How
doesn't
are they
somebody
allowed
go,
to do that?
Hey, no, you can't leave until you've answered all of our questions to the best of your ability. And if you're lying and we find out, you're in trouble.
Yep.
There's no accountability anymore.
No, whatsoever.
No.
So from now on, I am going to say I'm George Clooney, and I have a 29-inch waist and a hot wife.
There you go.
See,
and don't forget your vodka fields.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Italy. Oh, Mike, thank you so much.
No problem.
And do set us up with your friends.
I will.
Because we'd love to have them on the show.
Okay.
And Peggy, any other last questions?
No, if you need anything, reach out to Mike at Operation Rally Point if you're in the Georgia area and you need help. And as always,
with homelessness,
like, subscribe, and always remember, sharing is caring. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Mike.
bye.
Take care.
See you guys.